Hello, good evening, guys. Hold on, I'm gonna get things rolling here on my computer. Make sure I can see some of those comments. All right, here we go. Looks like we've got a couple people already on. Hi, happy Sunday evening. This is Tara with Tara Beth Stamps. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in mid-Missouri. Hey, Mary, thanks for joining. Today we're gonna do a shaker card, and I hope the light doesn't mess with this too much. But we're gonna use Angie, thanks for joining. We're gonna use the Pretty Birds collection along with the Charming Sentiments collection. So this is today's card. So you can tell we've got a little bit going on there. Hey, Susan, thanks for joining. So there's the card. But before we get started with that, I'm going to go over a couple of things. Celebration is going on right now, and we're going to use a Celebration product in this card, but you only have about 2 weeks remaining. So things are winding up quickly. The join special right now is pretty awesome because you get this amazing planner and stamp set. So the planner looks like this. It comes with 3 of these really cute little notebooks for all of you planners out there. I'm not as great at using that. And then the stamp set. So this is a pretty cool bundle, and you get this free with your kit, along with $125 worth of merchandise, which is pretty awesome. Hey, Karen. Hey, Mary. Thanks for Karen and Amy. Thanks for joining me. So this is an awesome special. The best part about it is free shipping. So this is pretty great. Next thing we've got Celebration. They've added a couple of items. So you can find these on my blog, but we've got some really great die sets. If you've got a bunch of everything, you can always stock up on your foils and stuff. Make sure to use my host code to get your free brass butterflies. That's quite a mouthful this month if you use my host code. So I'm going to set all that aside and let's get started. So I think the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to show you these stamp sets that we're going to use. So this is the Pretty Birds set. So when I first saw this in the annual catalog, I wasn't sure if I loved this set or not, but I saw a couple of cards and decided to get it, and I've really enjoyed playing with it. The other sentiment is actually one that jumped out at me originally as soon as I opened the catalog, and this is the Charming Sentiments bundle. And this is really awesome because it outlines all of these beautiful sentiments, and it's got so many. So this is like the perfect set to go with just about anything. So let's get to it. We're going to do a little stamping first. So I've got a piece of basic white, and I'm going to take my Memento ink pad, and hopefully it's not too gross because I just re-inked it. All right, and I am going to do the sentiment on a piece of basic white. All right, get that out of the way. And then I'm going to go ahead and do the outline of the birds. Okay, and I think I'll go ahead and put an outline of the birds right here on my envelope to get it going. And let's go ahead. I didn't cut a piece of basic white, so. All right, good thing it's pretty close. So I better shut that so I don't. I am going to cut this at 5 1/4 by 4, and that's going to be the inside. I've got everything else cut out, but I missed that one. Sorry about that. Hey, Lori, thanks for joining me. I know this set is awesome. Okay, so let's go ahead and stamp the bird cage. I'll flip this over. I'm going to set that, ooh, I don't think I have enough ink on there. I'm going to set this bird cage just right about here. And on my original, when I did this, I did not do my inside sentiment. I did my inside sentiment first before I did the bird cage, and I didn't love exactly where it ended up. So I'm going to be a little more careful. Hey, Karen, thanks for joining. All right. Ooh, I keep up with that light. So I'm going to line that up. And there we go. So that's going to be the inside. Now, what I'm going to do is set all of these stamps out of the way. And I'm going to bring in some parakeet party for my birds. All right. So I'm going to ink those up and line it up as good as I can on camera. All right, not too bad. Oop. Okay, so that's going to fill in those birds. But I didn't want just plain green birds. So what I'm going to do is I am going to take an ink block. And I'm going to put a little bit of Tahitian Tide on it. And I've got my Wink of Stella. I'm just going to squeeze it a little bit and bring it out here. So I'm going to give it a little bit of different color with that Wink of Stella. I'm going to make the feathers down at the bottom that are kind of dragging. I'm going to make those more blue. So this is a great way to get multiple layers and colors just blending together with that Wink of Stella. You could have done this with a blender pen, but I like the extra glimmer. You've seen lots of my cards. I do like that glitz. So this one didn't exactly go all the way to the side, so I'm going to make sure I get that covered with my Wink of Stella in the blue. Okay, then I'm going to kind of go over those birds a little bit just in the green areas and give a little more of that glimmer. Okay, we're going to do the same thing on the one that's going on the outside. And I usually put my ink on my block versus doing it from the cap. A lot of people put it in the cap, and I do that sometimes, but I feel like I do a little better if I just put it on a block. Especially when I'm watercoloring. I don't always want that water in my lid. Just about done here. We'll move on. We'll do a little die cutting. Okay. All right. So I'm going to call that good. Probably should have done that one first. Okay. I'm going to bring out my mini cut and emboss. And we are going to die cut that sentiment as well as my birds. So I'm going to come out here and find, that's not the right one. Maybe it's this one. Yeah, there we go. So I've seen some people that have gone ahead and cut, like stamped these and cut them and glued them onto their magnetic sheets so they know which ones they're pulling each time. I don't have the time for that. I just would rather just go by the seat of my pants. Ooh. All right. I'm going to take a little bit of tape and make sure these aren't going to slip on me. Okay. Nice thing is, this mini guy, I can still get 2 die cuts, lickety split. This is your perfect die cut machine for your desk, or when if you're a cropper that travels. They're awesome for traveling. If you camp, some of you snowbirds out there, it's a perfect setup for that. All right, I'll get this out of the way. And I'm going to grab a soft suede marker here. This is a soft suede blend that I'm going to do just a little bit here because I don't want that to look weird. They're on a branch, but they're not really on a branch. There we go. Can't leave the envelope different. I didn't put paper behind this, but I think for that small amount, it'll be okay. Yeah, it was fine. Okay, get that out of the way, throw it away. And we're ready to start assembling our shaker. Oh, you know what else I didn't do? All right, so I pre-die cut this. And the reason that what I did was I put an adhesive sheet on the back of this because once I cut it the first time, I did not realize how fine these lines were on the cage. So I added adhesive sheet because I don't think I could get enough glue on the back of that to make it stick. So I kind of wanted to show you what happens when you're pulling this off. Sometimes it starts pulling off the back. So there we go. Let's clean that out. And I have a piece of designer series paper. It's the 2022-2024 designer series paper in the in colors. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up my bird cage and put it where I want it. And then I'm going to take it off camera and do a little cut because I don't have my big die cut machine. So that oh yeah, I've got it right here. Okay. Swirl that around. Now you get to see both of them tonight. So we'll set that there. Ooh. All right. Now, when I use this tape, I'm very careful when I peel it off because I don't want to tear that designer series paper. It's made to release, but that doesn't mean it always does a really good job. That's part of the reason I use it multiple times. So I can go ahead and save this for another card because I'm frugal like that. And next I'm going to take a piece of window sheet. So these are sold in a 12 by 12. I have it cut down to a little smaller than 5 1/4 by 4. And I am going to adhere that with liquid adhesive. The reason that I'm doing it with liquid adhesive is I want a little bit of wiggle room when I'm adding that adhesive sheet. You notice I didn't get too close because I don't want it to smear into the visibility part. So there's that adhesive or window sheet that I'm adhering to the back. Okay, now I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to go ahead and add my bird cage. Just going to peel off those adhesive sheet backings. And, ooh, I keep hitting that. Sorry, guys. I'm going to line it up at the bottom because I feel like it's a little easier at the bottom because there's a little more to it. Just kind of slide it right into that hole because they should match perfect because it's the same die. So there's that. Now what I have is a piece of parakeet party that I am going to adhere with some liquid adhesive. Once again, I'm using that Celebration item, that silver and gold DSP. So I believe this is still available. I didn't check right before I came on, but hopefully it's still available. All right, there's that. Now I am going to take my die cut bird. Angie, it is easy. You just have to give it a try. Just give it a try. All right, just a little bit of liquid adhesive. My original, I used Stampin' Dimensionals, but I think I want my shaker pieces to go a little further down. So one of the things you want to be careful is you want to center these birds. So you're going to set your card front, the very top layer, and I've got my birds and I'm going to line it up and try to see where I like it. And I kind of like it right there in the center. So that allows me to get it exactly where I want to be, make sure that I've got enough side on each side. And there we go. So I've got a handy dandy little spoon that I don't have any idea where I got. I've got some of the all fancy sequins in the green and the blue that I'm just gonna put a little stack on here. So I've got the green and the blue. There we go. Now, I'm gonna shove this kind of out of the way and show you what I've done to get the adhesives on the back, so the most important thing with the shaker card is to make sure that you've got all the edges covered. So Stampin' Up! Sells foam strips, which are pretty awesome, and I have some, but this afternoon when I was making this card, I couldn't find them. So I went to the next best thing, and I got out my black Stampin' Dimensionals. And what I did was I just cut around the edges on all of them. So if you cut around the edges, you just have these amazing little strips. They're different lengths around, but this is what I decided to use. Thanks, Mary. I'm glad you like it. So I'm going to set that one right there. I'm going to set this one right here. And as you see, I'm doing it fairly close to the side. So on these, I cut one there. Cut it a little more. I'm going to cut maybe an angle there. All right. Cut it an angle here. Yeah, Kieran, I'm a frugal girl. I want to spend my money on stamps and die cuts. I don't want to spend it on supplies like dimensionals. All right, so you can see I've got all the areas covered around there. You know, there's some small gaps, but I don't think any of those things can get out. So I'm going to pull off the back. And I used the black because I thought that would mesh well with the bird cage. Get all of this trash out of the way. So so we're not all cluttered up here. Okay. Now is what I call the hard part. So this is layering it so that you've got all the DSP covered up. And I may have too many sequins here. Okay, cover it up, making sure the edges go. Show the parakeet party around the edges. And then I'm just gonna seal it all the way around. So there we go. Nice little shaker card. Hey Carol, thanks for joining me. I think aren't you the fan of the Pretty Bird set? I think you're the reason I went out and got this. All right, so I have a piece of basic black folded in, scored at 5.5. All these dimensions will be available on my blog tomorrow with some beautiful photos. So we'll throw that there. And I'm gonna add a little bit of liquid adhesive. And this is one of those cards that's definitely going to require a little more postage if you're sending it out because of all the layers and the extra dimensionals, the foam strips, all of that kind of adds a little bit of weight. So there's the front, but that's not all. Where did they go? Here they are. I have some classic black dots that I am going to add just above the bird cage to make it look like a chain. Karen, I'm glad you like the card. Thank you. So I didn't want to leave this blank either, but this classic dot is too small. So I came out and got the matte black dots and added that in the center. So let's see here. Get my spoon out of the way. All right. Now for the sentiment. I've added some dimensionals here. And I use the black again. And I'm going to stick that right on there. Then I got some feathers that I cut from the Tahitian Tide and Parakeet Party. I'm going to take some tweezers here and decide. So the green I've got going up against the blue, but I went ahead and made some blue ones as well to go up against the bird cage. So these, I don't know if you can tell the detail on these in the camera, but these have beautiful detail in the die cuts. It gives it a little bit of something extra. Let's do that. Okay. We'll do one more so we're in that odd grouping. All right, here we go. So there's your card front. I just love this. It's so fun. I've got a friend that went through some really tough times lately, and I thought I'd send this to her just to kind of pick her up, and I thought that it would be a perfect pick-me-up card. But you could use any of the sentiments on that charm setting sentiment step. Thanks, Karen. I'm glad you like it. Oh yeah, Karen, or Mary, there's a ton of those leaves in there. I think there's 6 or 7 in that set. Oh, you know what? I'm going to pull that off because I want to line it on the parakeet party. There we go. Grabbed it just in time. Okay. So if I've missed any questions, I'll definitely try to reach back out to you afterwards. Everything's going to be on my blog tomorrow. Oh. All right, let's add a little bit of DSP to, ooh, that's way too much glue. So when I do something like that with way too much glue, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my DSP and I'm just going to smudge it over, kind of work it in a little bit. Because sometimes those spouts can be a little too free. Okay, give it a quick trim. Check out my blog posting tomorrow. Don't forget Celebration. That beautiful planner. If you've got any questions, reach out to me. I'd be glad to answer any questions. And there is today's shaker card. Thanks so much for giving me part of your Sunday night. I appreciate it as always. I will be back next week with another card tutorial. Have a great evening. Thanks and good night.